Well, hello and good day, everyone, and welcome to Jammy Reviews, a show dedicated to spreading the truth and sharing a passion for entertainment in a safe and spoiler-free way. And we've got a jolly good one for you today. We're going to be looking at a classic, Alice Through the Looking Glass. Now, you may be wondering to yourselves, why have I donned my British refinery today? Well, you see, it turns out that I actually enjoy this film, which apparently is in contrast to the great number of critics and reviewers out there, which apparently makes me the crazy one. Well, I've decided to simply embrace the madness like a jolly good boy, and I think it's going to be for the best for all of us. In fact, you know what? Now that I think of it, I do believe it's tea time. Ah, delicious. While I enjoy my tea, let's dive right into this old one, Beans. Let's go and take a look at Alice Through the Looking Glass. Cheerio! Ah, God save the Queen! I'm getting a new butler tomorrow.
One pill makes you larger, one pill makes you small.
You've been gone too long, Alice, and do mind your step.
And you know you're going to fall.
Alice.
So, Alice Through the Looking Glass. Okay, you know what? No, I can't do this. You know what? Guys, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Look, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna say it right now, guys. I actually like this movie, and I, honest to God, don't know why it's getting such bad reviews. I mean, we're talking 0 stars out of 4 on the ePert website. That's how bad it is, guys, and honest to God, it isn't. It makes no sense to me. But you guys aren't here to hear my opinions on that. You know, you want to hear why. You want to hear why I'm saying this. So I'll dive right into it. So Alice Through the Looking Glass is the latest Walt Disney picture directed by James Bobin, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and it's starring Mia Wasikowska, and along with Sacha Baron Cohen, Helena Bonham Carter, and Johnny Depp. Now, to kind of give you guys a sense of where I'm coming from, I was one of those people who hated the 2010 Tim Burton version of Alice in Wonderland. Basically, the problem for me with that movie was the concept. As much as I prefer to focus on how interpretation is executed as opposed to the interpretation itself, sometimes, guys, the concept by itself simply doesn't work. Basically, Tim Burton tried to turn the story of Alice in Wonderland into a war drama. It just, guys, that's kind of like trying to turn a story like Wizard of Oz into Lord of the Rings. It just doesn't work.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
It is not our fight.
It is our fight. It will not end here. With every victory, this evil will grow. If your father has his way, we will do nothing. We will hide within our walls, live our lives away from the light, and let darkness descend.
So, honestly, my hopes for this film were actually quite low. I was expecting more of the same, but I was pleasantly surprised. And so that's where most of what I'm going to be talking about comes from. The differences between the 2010 film and this one. So let's just not waste any time and dive right in. So the first big difference, the first thing to know about this film is the story. Now, basically the story is that the titular Alice has to return to Underland. God, I hate saying that. To the film's credit, guys, they don't say it that much. In fact, I don't think they say it at all, so thankfully we're spared having to hear that terrible name that much. But I'm digressing. The point is, Alice returns to Underland through a looking glass, which is just fancy talk for a mirror. And Alice discovers that her good friend, the Mad Hatter, is in danger for his life, and she has to go on a quest to save him. And so she does. Now, what struck me about this story, guys, was the fact that basically at its core, the story is much more simplistic and focused. It's basically, there's a clear goal for the protagonist, and there's clear obstacles, and she just dives right in and goes for it. Now, this is in contrast to the 2010 film, where you have all of these made-up rules. You have this prophecy about a coming savior, and you have this chess piece battle at the end, where one person has to fight the monster. There's all these made-up rules, and it robs the film of its spontaneity. But thankfully, this film, they don't have any of that. There's clear objectives, there's clear obstacles, and it just makes the film much easier to follow. It makes it much easier to get invested in, and I was able to. I had fun watching this movie. I liked where it was going. I didn't know where it was going, and I thought they did a good job with it. So for me, the story is very, very well. Though I'll concede that the film kinda goes all over the place. There's a few times where they just sort of grab at things. They sort of throw in plot points, they try and throw in jokes that aren't necessarily needed, they try and throw in some character development that isn't necessarily central to the plot. So the film's story is kind of all over the place at times, so I can understand that criticism. But one thing that I need to push back on is about the characters, because this is something that a lot of reviewers are talking about. Now, one of the things that is literally night and day between this film and the 2010 version is Mia's character. I'm using her first name because I can't do her last name and I don't want to butcher it. So, Mia's character, Alice. Now, in the 2010 film, Alice was basically nothing. Her face was one expression, it was just this the entire time. It was low energy, I don't care, I just think this is a dream, impossible to get invested in. But this time around, Alice, 180 difference. This time around, Alice is headstrong, she's impulsive, she's outspoken, she's stubborn, she's determined, she has clear goals, she's just an all-around, much more rounded character. She's interesting, she's someone that we can care about, that we can legitimately get behind, and that's important for this kind of story, and it works to the movie's advantage.
Drink me. Better look first, for if one drinks much from a bottle marked poison, it's almost certain to disagree with one sooner or later.
Beg your pardon?
I was just giving myself some good advice. But, tastes like cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, goodness! Oh! Eat me, all right. But goodness knows what this will do. Whoa, 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 whoa!
Another thing that is enjoyable, again, excuse me, was the addition of Sacha Baron Cohen to the cast as Time. They have a character who basically represents a metaphorical idea. I always love characters like this. What I had appreciated most was that Sacha Baron Cohen seemed to take the role very seriously. He wanted to give it a dignity. There's a dignity about this character, Time. He takes his job seriously, managing, well, time itself. But what's nice is that they don't take him too seriously. Again, unlike in comparison with the 2010 film, this character was fun. They play around with it, guys. They play around with the fact that they have a character representing time. They make every time joke you can imagine. Every joke under the sun. You know, time waits for no man. I've got lots of time on my hands. A stitch in time saves 9, I think, is thrown in there. Some of it works, some of it doesn't, but I give them props for at least trying, you know? They have fun with it, and that's important. Another character that I really enjoyed was the Mad Hatter. This time around, they focused a little bit more, I thought, on the actual madness of the Mad Hatter, or they at least play with it. They play with the whole idea that the Mad Hatter doesn't really understand what's going on, that he's not in touch with reality. You know, what a shock, the Mad Hatter might be mad, but hey, they finally got it right, so I liked it. I cared. The story was personal. I felt like Johnny Depp had more to do in this movie than in the last one. Let me see, what else did I want to talk about? Let's see, oh guys, the look of this movie. Again, for me, my big concern with coming into this movie was that I was afraid we were going to get more of the same. In the 2010 film, the color palette for the movie was very bland. There was lots of gray and black tones over the camera that just sort of muddled everything. The reds and the blues didn't show through, they didn't pop, they just looked black. But this...
It's you.
No, it's not! That twist brought us the wrong Alice!
It's the wrong Alice! You're absolutely Alice. I'd know you anywhere. I'd know him anywhere. Well, as you can see, we're still having tea. And it's all because I was a few time waiting for your return. You're terribly late, you know. Naughty.
This time around, they used real locations, or at least they looked real to me. They used these nice, they used lots of nice saturations of yellow and lots of nice saturations of shadows, but not in a way that made the film look boring. It looked legitimately creepy at times, but also majestic and beautiful at times. They really got the sense of the wonder of Wonderland, Underland, I'm not sure on that, but basically the film was easier to look at. It was nice to look at, which makes a big difference. Let me think. The pacing of the film. This is something that's come under a lot of criticism, and I'll admit on this I can see the legitimate criticism. The film tries to be very fast-paced. It's trying to have a serious story, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the film sort of feels like it's jumping from plot point to plot point.
Yes? Yellowish. Her name, Alice.
There's a sequence where they try and play with the idea that maybe all of this is in Alice's head, that maybe she's crazy, but really the sequence doesn't serve the plot. It's more of a distraction. It's just like, oh, this is something she has to do. Oh, she overcame it. That plot point was done. So the film's kind of iffy at times in terms of the pacing. Another thing that needs to be pointed out is some of the leftover characters from the previous film, like the White Queen and the Red Queen. I thought the Red Queen was handled fine. Honestly, guys, Anne Hathaway is kind of wasted in this movie. She really has nothing to do in this film. She's just sort of there to be the White Queen who walks around. I mean, I guess she has character development, but really it's not all that much. It's not all that interesting. So that is a legitimate criticism. But overall, though, the film was enjoyable. I felt like I cared about what was happening. I thought the way that they presented the world was one of genuine wonder, genuine surprise. They wanted this to be fun for people. They wanted people to have, you know, a sense of suspense, a sense of caring. The climax of this movie was handled very well, I thought. My heart was pounding, guys. You know, there's a nice build-up. What was fun was, unlike a lot of climaxes that just sort of happen and then they're done, This one was actually sustained. It actually surprised me, which was very refreshing. You know, I really enjoyed that. It left me guessing, you know, what's going to happen? I wasn't sure. I was legitimately not sure. I guess if I had to sort of nitpick, I will say that, once again, they are deviating from the book dramatically. I haven't read through The Looking Glass, but I've read synopses, and basically this film has nothing to do with the book. They completely changed the story. So if you're one of those people who prefers the novel, I don't think this film is going to sway you, but at the end of the day, guys, I honestly didn't see why people are hating on this movie so much. I thought it was a fun film. It's not perfect by any means. It does have some serious flaws, but I think it's better than the 2010 film, and I think it's one of those movies where if you don't really have anything to watch and you're just in the mood for some kind of fun sort of fantasy with some nice characters, some nice visuals, there's a lot of nice there's a lot of little nice gadgets in the movie that people can get excited about, that the technical people can enjoy. There's a nice appreciation for just sort of the mechanics of things like time, but that's kind of getting into spoilers. So guys, that brings me to my final score. I decided I'm going to buck what the critics say. I'm going to give Alice Through the Looking Glass a solid 7 out of 10. It's a decent film. It's a good film. It's not a must-see, but I do recommend it to people. I think you'll enjoy it, especially if you hated the 2010 film and wanted to see something different. So, yeah, guys, hopefully you guys won't think I'm crazy. I want to know what your thoughts are on the film. Please let me know if there's something that I missed, if there's something that maybe you think that should be brought to my attention. Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you guys like what you see here and you want to see more, don't forget to hit subscribe below. And if you want to see my older written reviews, you can just log on to Facebook, and they'll be right there. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to do this again for you. But until then, I wish you all the very best. Happy film going.